San Diego real estate market report Q2 of 2024. And here's what to know.
Inventory's definitely increased. At the start of the quarter, we had inventory just over 1,200. Now we're approaching about 24, 26. June figures haven't come out yet. We definitely have a lot more seller confidence in the market to putting their home on the market. Basically Q1 of a lot of buyers really coming out of the woodworks to buy, I think in hopes of a rate decrease. And since that's happened, we've had sellers obviously coming out just because they're seeing the median home prices, but they know buyers are out there buying.
What I'm seeing now, let's not talk about, what's to come in the future quite yet, but just over the last 3 months since we did have that last conversation, is I'm seeing a inventory shrinkage, certainly on the existing homes. And I'm also, which is very concerning to me, it is in the reports, it's in the numbers, this isn't like a made up fact, that the new home construction is down considerably. Houses just they're not catching up to the demand that's needed to do anything to pricing. Not even close. I mean, it's so far off. You're talking about 10 years that we've been, kind of not building, if you will, because the regulation has been so tight. I mean, especially here in California, you certainly have pocket areas that are a little bit different. Builders are finding it, especially in this last quarter, very expensive, very difficult to produce more homes here in California. In essence, I think inventory is extremely low. This kind of just is going to be my mantra for everyone who's looking to purchase a home is buy one now. If you're waiting for some kind of dip, that is not going to happen. Whether you're renting or purchasing a new home, it is going to be extremely difficult for the next probably 3 to 18 months at a minimum. We might start to see a little bit of a tweak, but we need to get an interest rate reduction to start to spur that. That's kind of my 2 cents on where I think the market inventory thing is right now. Certainly in California, I know in San Diego, it's pretty rough.
You're having these numbers considerably increase basically in this last roughly month and a half. And June's numbers haven't come out yet. And the reason being is because you have more seller confidence right now. Home price from April to May, it actually went down. And the reason why it went down, at least what I'm seeing on the market right now, is you have a lot of sellers that are still overpricing. You have obviously more inventory leads to more competition. All of which
month over month for April, it was down. The price was down. I think it was in California, don't quote me on this number, but I can find it for you. Certainly, it was 1%, close to 2.
It's very minute.
It's not a lot.
In San Diego, it went down from $1,001,000 to $1,091,000.
Yeah, so it's
you're talking about $9,000, which is really, really small. But again, you're also having basically what happened in rates affecting that. You're having that to where people are kind of taking a position back. And again, from our original Q1 to even Q2, you had people in hopes that they were going to get 1 to potentially even 2 rate cuts by now. Yeah. So realistically, I think all of the consumer confidence has definitely been up, at the beginning of the year, and it's somewhat waned. I think just for the fact that at least a lot of people that I help or are introduced to kind of are under this illusion, or more importantly, hoping it's when do we get a break?
Sure.
When do we get a break in this? And now they're just really hoping one for the year. And again, with all the data that's been provided to us, you're having a pause, just as you mentioned, by buyers a little bit, where they're just kind of catching a breath a little bit.
The numbers are the numbers, and I can tell you that in the economic data numbers, which is what I pay attention to, and look, this is a blanket United States thing, so just to be clear, it's not direct. Again, like I said, every pocket's a little different, has a little different movement, but your housing starts, were 1 million less month over month. That's a lot, dude. That's a lot. Building permits were down. I mean, that does not bode well for what is, now we'll kind of get into what we're talking about for maybe the next quarter, in the quarter that we're in. We're about to start anyways, where, again, I just kind of circle back to, I think we're all done with having to, if there's a question of if price is going to, no, they're not. They're just not. And if you buy today, you are going to see an increase in value I don't see anything, especially after they just did the stress test yesterday. There is nothing in the tea leaves that tell me or show me anything that is going to be outside of a nuclear war. There is nothing that is going to keep the housing market from continuing to rise.
Still, the buyers that I'm helping are still putting a considerable amount down. I think a lot of them are very payment conscientious, and they are, waiting. I think a lot of buyers that I've had have waited to actually make sure that their payment is in line with how much they're making. So that's really what I'm seeing. And I'm still seeing a lot of them, with 20, 30% down, some even at 10%. That's really what, or more importantly, the buyers that I've been helping.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's, you got a smarter buyer out there when we look at people talk about Gen X and millennials and, then the Z, whatever generation, they're all, to me, coming into this process much more hyper aware of where their payment needs to be, which is just such a breakthrough given the long time that I've been in this business. It is a refreshing thing to see that I've got a lot of clients coming in to me who are intelligent enough to go, hey, you know what? We just can't, it's just crazy for us to pull the trigger on a house right now. And so they're staying, kind of in the mix and looking at stuff, kind of, staying connected, but also making sure that they're pulling enough money, more money, so they can put more money down. Yeah, there's an article that came out today that new home purchasers, people who have never owned a house before, are needing 30% down to qualify. That tells me a lot of things, right? You just have a smarter buyer today versus when you had, 15 years ago who just was, guns hot, willy-nilly, let's get into it. And then, they end up in not a great situation.
More buyers, I think, I think acceptance is like the key phrase right now. And they're accepting the payment with hopes of greener pastures. Buyers that I've seen that are buying are really treating almost their payment like arms. They are treating it like, listen, we can stomach this, and we can stomach this to a certain extent, but we're going to be getting out of this. We know we're going to be getting out of this.
We are on the brink of getting the first rate cut, done and under here in this 2024. And I think we'll see, maybe possibly two, depending on how the data comes out over the next 6 months. But likely, again, we're going to see a continuation of rates, over the coming years. So if you take the next 18 months, frankly, is probably the better window to look at. I just constructing these loans today are a little bit different, and just trying to help people understand what the process is going to be over the next 12 to 18 months for your rate. It's just not going to you're not going to stay in whatever loan you're in, most likely.
My 90-day prediction is the fact that we're going to have home prices increase just naturally because the summer traffic, I think, is going to have an increase or allow an increase in pricing. But home price median is going to stay somewhat at a standstill. We may moderately increase from that, but I don't believe that it's going to be drastic by really August or September months. I do believe rates will soften a little bit, not due to a rate cut. I believe what's happening in August 17th, the NAR changes may get postponed another month or two.
Okay, so my 90-day predictions for real estate and rates are going to be, I think for me, it's going to be that we're going to get a rate cut here soon. I think that we are going to start to see the writing on the wall for where the economy is headed. It's not doing great as everybody thinks. And I think home prices will stay the same. I don't think, they'll continue to increase its natural way. And I do think that there will be this kind of flood to the market in September, October, for home sellers and for home buyers. So long as we get that rate cut, I think there's going to be a good turn up. And then there may be even some refinances that start to come back in the fold too. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce get engaged.
Reach out to learn more.